We live there because we can't afford anywhere else. And rent in Bancroft is way too high. You either pay your rent or you buy food. So it's a toss-up between both of them.
Water is crazy. Like, I couldn't imagine not having that stuff covered by, you know, ODSP or things like that, because I wouldn't be able to afford it.
I think it's funny because recently you just looked at me and said, I don't call it a paycheck, I call it a bill day. Because by the time you pay all your bills, even just the minimum, your heat, your hydro, your main things that you pay, you're lucky if you have 200 every 2 weeks. So that's like
That's
400 for food.
That's the way I feel. We pay bills. That's all we pay. In the winter time especially, because you don't get that many hours when you're in the winter time because it's very slow.
Towards the end of the month, I'm pretty low. I'm pretty low in everything. I'm getting low. So I have to come to the food bank, and if it wasn't for the food bank helping me, well, I'd just do without. There's just meals I'd miss.
No. It's not enough. It's not enough, especially for if you have like 3 children. It's not enough. Like, the cost of living is just going up. Clothing costs is going up. Food costs is going up. Everything's going up. So you can't survive.
So what do you find about what about the costs for you?
They're unreal. They're unreal. If it wasn't for the food bank and places I could get diapers, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Right.
But when I pay all my bills, I have sometimes $75 left over, and that's for groceries and continent supplies and stuff like that, and that it just doesn't cut it.
So if you could share with us, what would it cost you a month to live?
$11.50 is what I pay out every month.
Okay.
And I only get $1,400.
So that makes things really...
Yeah, and I have my car insurance to get out of that too, so, and my phone and my cable, and I just got basic cable.
Same with me.
I don't get nothing fancy because I can't afford anything fancy.
I'm on single old age, and they don't give you an awful lot. And I've had friends say to me, oh, you're lucky you're on the old age. I'd say, I'm not lucky by any means. You know, I was better when I was working, because the money was coming regular, you know. It's like this. Lots of other people in the building, they got all their lights in their apartment on, but I look at it this way. I'm trying to save myself some money because the hydro bill is so high. It's fairly high all year round.
Yeah.
Although in the summertime I keep it off as much as I can.
Right.
And every now and then I shut it off now, but it's getting the colder weather, you know, and you need a certain amount of hydro on so you won't be falling, because I fall easy. I have problems with my legs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's about heating and just the cost of hydro.
Yeah, right. So I shut some of the lights off, and then I watch TV, and I go with the light of the TV around the apartment a lot.
To try and save.
Yeah, try to save on hydro.
We went to the North Hastings High School to speak with a youth group who is advocating to end poverty. This is what they had to say.
In the poverty challenge, they did say you can't exactly always see poverty. And as I come back, I try to see if it's true. Like, can I see somebody in poverty? It's really hard. You can't. So when you look around and you don't actually, like, you think everything's fine and dandy until you get the statistics, and it's like a whole flip. You have no idea that this is happening around you, and it should be fixed, honestly. It's really sad.
It's sad how little people know about such a large concern.
It's kind of sad because there's no young, like none of the younger generation wants to get involved, which really, like at that poverty challenge, it made me like want to grab like 30 kids and be like, let's go, let's go make a change. Like we are the change, like we can be the change. Like it doesn't have to be everybody else, it can be us. Like
we're trying to work towards an assembly here at the school to get the rest of the school at least informed and educated.
Community Trust has been around since 2003, and its original mandate was to provide emergency assistance to folks in the community who couldn't make basic needs. And at that time, that was the overarching mission statement, and the agency operated quite discreetly. There was this fear of asking people to be public, and I think tied into that was a protection around stigma. A couple of years ago we reviewed that and we changed our mission statement, recognizing that we need to do way more than emergency assistance, and that actually is not in the end helping folks in our community in the long run. And indeed, it's actually perpetuating the stigma in lots of ways. So how do we open up those conversations and provide more than that? And we changed our mission statement, and so now we're looking at also sustainable solutions to poverty. So it's only been since 2015. Before that, we didn't have any space in town. So we do have space in town. We're accessible. We work from a trauma-informed perspective, which means we work to meet people where they're at without judgment. And that's super, super important. And what we're seeing is an increase in people coming forward and telling their story, and not only asking for assistance, but asking how they can be part of our organization.
Lori, from the North Hastings community covered, if you could speak to what it's like at the front line for you, and what you're seeing at the local food bank, and whether that need is increasing. How you're coping with an increased demand?
Well, I've been in the front line now for 5 years, and in the last year we have seen just in the Christmas numbers alone a 50% increase. Last year we fed about 150. This year we're feeding 300, and that for this small community, that's huge. So there's many people that are realizing that they can use the food bank more than they did. I think that they're seeing a safety net there for them, but it's not a solution. You know, we are doing our best to bring in as much healthy food as we can. But the bottom line is that feeding people through food banks is not a solution. We need to be able to offer them education, the ability to learn how to cook, nutrition, and support. Like Sandy is spoken there, you know, there just isn't that support in what they're really needing and the choices that they can make personally for themselves. So the front line in the food bank has just it's just become so huge with the amount of people coming in. And yes, we are seeing a lot of seniors. Our numbers are highest in seniors and in couples, and that makes sense, I'm sure, to what they receive through the government. So I'm really concerned about that, not only for the people that we serve, but also for how our food bank is going to sustain that. I just don't know how we're going to sustain that.
Work the front line, and the front line includes not only issues around poverty but homelessness and mental health. And many of the things we're currently seeing right now that concerns me is kind of complicated seniors that are not only homeless but have major health problems and can't get 24-hour care or supervision that they may need with those health problems. We offer transitional housing, but many times we're almost acting in the capacity of nursing home, and it's coordinating care management because these folks have kind of fallen off the system so far. back into the loop for the proper coordinated care and funding that's needed is a huge task. And I don't know if you're seeing the same thing up there with the frontline work that you're doing, but of course poverty is across all demographics, but we're definitely seeing seniors hit very hard right now.